Hello everyone and welcome to Box Office Receipts. I'm your host Tyler Callahan and it is a very busy week. We have a movie bombing with Argylle doing some poor numbers. Disney is making moves. A new award category is coming to the Oscars, new trailers, and streaming updates. Let's start with the domestic top 5. Opening in first place is Argylle with $18 million. In second place is The Chosen with $6 million for a total of $7.4 million. Third place was The Beekeeper with $5.2 million for a total now of $49.4 million. Fourth place was Wonka with another $4.7 million for a total of $201.1 million. And in fifth place was Migration with $4.1 million for a total of $106.2 million. So yeah, not a good weekend for Apple with Argylle. They spent $200 million to buy the film from Matthew Vaughn, and it's turned into a complete bomb, and unlike Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon, there are no excuses here. This is a stack ensemble in an action movie, and it did not deliver. The reviews are poor, and audiences are not liking it as well, with the movie getting a C+ cinema score, the lowest for Matthew Vaughn. Universal, as the distributor for this, is probably also not happy as well. There was a lot of talk during the promotion for this film that there are hopes for a sequel or even a team-up movie with the Kingsman franchise. And at this point, I think it's safe to say that is not happening. For me at least, I want a Kingsman 3. Hopefully that will at least be made. In China, it's the last weekend ahead of Chinese New Year, where it's always an exciting time to watch how the new set of movies perform. But first, we do have some numbers. Johnny Keeps Walking stayed in first place with $8.1 million for a total of $171 million. In second place was Rob and Roll with $2.9 million for a total of $76.9 million. Third place was The Goldfinger with another $2.9 million for a total of $76.9 million. Fourth place was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom with $1 million for a total of $63.8 million. And in fifth place was Follow Bear for Adventure, earning $950,000 for a total of $14.1 million. And in the preview for Chinese New Year, some of the films set to be released include Pegasus 2, Article 20, the movie Emperor, Vida La Vida, and YOLO. YOLO is the one to keep an eye out for, as it's from Jia Ling, who made Hi Mom a few years ago. That one did make, I believe, $800 million, so definitely YOLO, keep an eye out. And to add to this, Variety is exclusively reporting that Sony has bought the international distribution rights to YOLO. It was not said when they would release it in theaters and how big of a release it would get, but I would think it would be sometime in the spring. Internationally, Argylle earned $17.3 million for a worldwide opening weekend of $35.3 million. At this rate, it'll be lucky to pass $100 million worldwide. Anyone But You continues its success story, earning $13.5 million for a worldwide total of $151.8 million. If Valentine's Day gives it a big enough of a boost, it should be able to hit $200 million. Wonka earned $10.4 million for a total of $571.7 million worldwide. Poor Things earned another $8.5 million for a worldwide total of $68.3 million. The Beekeeper earned $6.2 million for a total of $122 million worldwide. Mean Girls is at $92.7 million worldwide. And Migration is now at $222 million worldwide. For news in Hollywood, let's start with Disney, as they announced a few things during their quarterly earnings report, with one of them being an update on their theatrical releases. They announced that Zootopia 2 will be coming out November 26th, 2025. So this will be the big Disney animated movie for Thanksgiving next year. As for this year, well, surprise, surprise, it's Moana 2. If that came out of nowhere, that's because it kind of did. CEO Bob Iger talked about how this came about, and basically, back when they were announcing a lot of new shows for Disney Plus, one of them was for Moana. Well, they're turning the show and repurposing it into a movie. That is also why it feels like there's a quick turnaround on it, is, the last few years, a Moana show's been worked on. Now all of a sudden it's the Moana movie. It's a Moana sequel. In regards to who is coming back, Deadline is reporting that both Auli'i Cravalho and Dwayne Johnson are in talks to reprise their roles of Moana and Maui, respectively. One thing Disney did confirm is that Lin Manuel Miranda is not coming back to write new songs for the sequel. I think overall this is the best move for Disney. They need theatrical hits, and the first Moana was a success at the box office and has been doing amazing numbers on streaming. The movie came out back in 2016, and it still has a lot of people, most of them, I would assume kids, watching it on Disney Plus. Right? It is still one of the most streamed movies on Disney Plus. So by turning the series into a movie, Disney can maximize it by giving it a full, proper theatrical release, and then maximize it on Disney Plus. Because if they just did the series, it's going to Disney Plus, and that's it. The sequel will be directed by Dave Sarek Jr., and it comes out November 27th. So we now have a battle: Wicked Part 1 versus Moana 2. And if I had to take a bet on who would do more at the box office, I'm going to say Moana 2. Also now on the calendar for this year is the new Alien movie from 20th Century Studios called Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez. It comes out August 16th. That's a good spot for it, as usually August is a quiet month. Beyond the news from the quarterly earnings is that 20th Century Studios is getting back to work on more Predator films. Deadline is reporting that Darren Trachtenberg is coming back to direct Badlands. This is a new standalone Predator movie that is set to start filming by the end of the year. Along with that, very early in development is Prey 2 as well. Look, Trachtenberg did a great job with Prey, and it was a really good movie. So just him coming back has me looking forward to Badlands. At Warner Brothers, it is not looking good for Coyote versus Acme, with the latest reports being that it is more likely to be wiped out and to never be seen. Deadline reports that Warner Brothers has held a few screenings for buyers, but so far bids have not been at what they wanted. They report Paramount and Netflix have offered between 30 to 50 million, while Warner Brothers was looking for 70 million minimum, again to make back at least the cost of making the film. To make things worse for Warner Brothers, The Wrap is reporting that they refused to hear counteroffers, so it seems like they didn't even want to negotiate, and on top of that, none of the top executives even watched the final cut of the movie. Now I get it, they all have busy lives, trying to get the studio and the company as a whole back on track. But to write off the movie and not even watch it to see what they were throwing away, that's not great. Now, yes, they probably have read reports and reviews from others in the studio, but they didn't even want to watch with their own eyes if this was the right move, right? Maybe there was something here that they could do with it. Nothing. I'm hoping it does come out at some point, but yeah, it looks like that is not gonna happen. Also at Warner Brothers, in an update from the last episode, Deadline is exclusively reporting that they have won the auction for the Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan movie. Production is set to begin in April. Over at Universal, Deadline is exclusively reporting that David Leitch will not be directing the new Jurassic World movie. Talks fell through as Leitch and the studio had different ideas on what the movie should be. While Universal is looking for a new director, they are for now holding firm on it coming out next year, with the official Jurassic World account on X posting a release date of July 2nd, 2025. So yeah, they want this done quickly and out next summer. At Paramount, they have renewed their first look deal for films with Ryan Reynolds and his production company Maximum Effort for another 3 years, with it now lasting until December 2026. While they have a few projects in the works, the first one between Maximum Effort and Paramount is the John Krasinski movie If, coming out in May. Reviews for Bob Marley One Love are starting to come out, and it's not great, with a mostly mixed to negative reception. However, it is coming in right now better than Argylle, so it has that going for it. It has a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. For music biopics, as long as it's a crowd-pleasing film, the reviews matter a bit less, but we will have to wait and see. In exclusive from Deadline, they're reporting that Christopher McQuarrie has cut his entire management team. This includes his lawyer, his agent at CAA, and his manager. Going forward, he will be represented by lawyer Matt Galser, who also represents Tom Cruise. From Crunchyroll, we got a release date for Spy X Family, Code White. While the film is already out in Japan, we now know when it will start to come to theaters worldwide. It will come to North America on April 19th in both subbed and dubbed. As for some other countries, it'll come to France and Belgium on April 17th, Australia and New Zealand on April 18th, and Germany on the 23rd, and Italy on the 24th. At South by Southwest, more movies were announced to join the programming for the festival, including Monkey Man, Immaculate, and Arcadian. South by Southwest starts on March 8th. Jonathan Majors is being accused by more people in an article from the New York Times. They talked to colleagues and ex-girlfriends who said that he was emotionally abusive, and for one, she said he was also physically abusive. As for colleagues, they talk about how he was volatile on the set of Lovecraft Country and had confrontations with his female co-stars. Now, while these are just accusations for now, if true, Jesus, he really is a piece of work, and for some reason really hates women. In Hollywood this week, an entire agency is being shut down, with Deadline exclusively reporting that A3 are closing their doors, with the reports being this came out of the blue, with Chairman Adam Bold making the decision himself. An email has gone out to staff saying February 12th will be the last day. This comes after a lawsuit was filed in December against Bold by the agency's CEO, claiming drug abuse and sexual harassment, and wanted to file an injunction to stop him from selling the company for parts and giving himself a golden parachute. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on at the top of the company that has brought it down, and sadly, the employees will take the biggest hit, losing their jobs. It's not clear how many will be affected yet, but hopefully they will land on their feet soon. The Academy are adding a new award for the Oscars for casting. The award is Achievement in Casting, and the first one will come for the 98th Academy Awards in 2025. This also marks the first new Oscar in over 20 years since Best Animated Feature Film was added back in 2001. For casting updates, Lionsgate has confirmed in a follow-up to our last episode that Miles Teller will be joining the Michael Jackson biopic. Joel Edgerton and Felicity Jones are set to star in a new film called Train Dreams, directed by Clint Bentley. The film will also be up for sale to international buyers at the European Film Market, or EFM. We'll be talking about that more in a minute, as some new films are in development and up for sale. In exclusive from Deadline, they are reporting that Fan Bingbing has joined the cast of Ice Road 2, Road to the Sky, which stars Liam Neeson. The film is currently in production and will come to Prime Video in most countries when it's done. Deadline is also reporting that Charles Melton is looking to star in a new movie being made by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. Not much is known about the new film, just that it'll be a war film from A24, and that Garland and Mendoza will co-direct as well as write together. They just worked together on the upcoming A24 film Civil War, coming out in April. Now let's talk about the European film market, where there are a lot of films headed there, and Deadline has the exclusive on a lot of them, I would say. First, we have a true crime movie called Roofman, starring Channing Tatum, and directed by Derek Cianfrance. Film Nation will handle international sales, while CAA will handle domestic. Next film package we got is A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. The film will star Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell, with a script written by Seth Reese and directed by Kogonada. Farrell and Kogonada recently worked together on After Yang. Production is set to begin in the spring, and as for sales, CAA will handle domestic, while Neon International will handle international sales. Sophie Turner and Kit Harington are reteaming for a new gothic horror film called The Dreadful. It'll be written and directed by Natasha Kermani, with Filmbridge International and UTA Independent Film Group handling sales. Karen Gillan is set to star in a period comedy called Fools, where she will play Mary Tudor. Patsy Fernan will star in the film as well as Tudor's Jester, with Guy Jenkin writing and directing. International sales will be handled by Altitude's Film Sales, and domestically, they will work with UTA. Dave Bautista and Samuel L. Jackson will be working together in a new action movie called Afterburn, which is an adaptation of a graphic novel with the same name. It'll be directed by J.J. Perry, with Black Bear handling international sales and CAA Media Finance handling domestic. Zac Efron is set to star in a celebrity thriller called Famous, with Jody Hill directing and Sam Esmail producing. Efron will be playing two roles in the film, the big celebrity and the crazy fan. Black Bear will work with CAA on international sales, while WME Independent works on domestic rights. Another film headed into the market is an untitled film starring Joaquin Phoenix and directed by Todd Haynes. Filming set to begin sometime this summer, and MK2 will be handling sales for the film. Claire Foy and Brendan Gleeson will star in a film called H is for Hawk, which is based on a memoir from author Helen MacDonald. The film is produced by Plan B and co-financed by Film 4, with Protagonist Pictures handling worldwide sales. Scarlett Johansson is set to star in, as well as produce, a true crime thriller called Featherwood, with Andrea Arnold directing. Film Nation will be handling sales for the film. Celine Song is getting her next film ready, called The Materialists. She'll be directing the rom-com from a script she wrote, and A24 is taking the film to the EFM as well. As for who might star in it, no one is a lock yet, but the ones currently in talks are Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, and Chris Evans. Current plan is that she will start shooting in the spring. The DGA, or Directors Guild of America, held their award ceremony, and Christopher Nolan won the big award for feature film for Oppenheimer, and Celine Song won Outstanding Directorial Achievement in First Time Theatrical Feature Film for Past Lives. We did get an update on Carl Weathers with the death certificate saying that he died due to atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. However, his family is disputing that. Robert M. Young has died at the age of 99. He was a director of numerous films, including Triumph of the Spirit and Extremities, among others. Greg Finley died at the age of 76 due to heart-related issues. He was a voiceover actor who worked on films including The Great Gatsby and Men in Black 2. Juan Osorio has died at the age of 41. He was a rigger and was working on Marvel Studios' Wonder Man series where he accidentally fell off the rafters. A GoFundMe has been set up for his family, and over $150,000 has been raised. Thoughts and prayers go out to their families during this terrible time, and may they rest in peace. A few minutes ago, we just talked about, Celine Song's new film at A24. Well, there's another film in production now at A24 with Denzel Washington and Spike Lee teaming up for a new one called High and Low. Lee will direct, with Washington starring in it. A24 and Apple Original Films are teaming up to make it, so A24 will release it in theaters first before it heads to Apple TV+. For trailers, we got quite a few thanks to the Super Bowl. The big one was the first trailer for Deadpool 3, now called Deadpool and Wolverine, and clearly from the first look at the movie, they are not holding back on what makes Deadpool, well, Deadpool. It looks good so far, and I'm looking forward to watching it. Comes out July 26th. Disney and 20th Century Studios have also used the Super Bowl to drop a new trailer for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which still looks good. That comes out May 10th. Universal was busy dropping multiple new looks at different movies. They released the first trailer for Twisters, starring Glenn Powell, Daisy Edgar-Jones, and Anthony Ramos. From what I saw, I'm actually looking forward to it. Looks like a good summer film. Now, this is a joint film between Universal and Warner Brothers, with both studios co-financing. Domestically, this is a Universal movie, while for Warner Brothers, they will handle the distribution internationally. It comes out July 19th. We also got a first look at the Wicked adaptation, starring Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. As someone who has not seen the Broadway play, I can't tell if it's accurate or not, but some of the visuals for the world they made looks nice. One thing to note is that Universal seems to be hiding that this is a part 1. It is not in the title of the trailer or the poster from what I've seen. And look, as far as we know, they have not said they're combining both movies, so it is supposed to be a part 1 and part 2. As we talked about earlier, it comes out November 27th. The studio also released new TV spots for Despicable Me 4 and The Fall Guy as well. Also, not a trailer that premiered at the Super Bowl. Paramount this week released the first trailer for A Quiet Place Day 1. The horror prequel comes out June 28th. For VOD Premium, let's start with Max, where it was announced that The Color Purple will be available to watch on the streaming service starting February 16th. It is a quicker turnaround than normal from theaters to streaming, but to be fair, post-Christmas, the film dropped pretty hard at the box office. Over at Peacock, The Traitors has been renewed for a 3rd season. This comes as the show is currently airing its 2nd season, so I assume it's doing some good numbers for the streamer. ITV has made a deal with Amazon MGM to air the James Bond catalog. Starting in March, all 25 films will air on ITV throughout the year, with them being made available to watch for 30 days afterwards on ITVX. ITV has also said that the movies will air on ITV multiple times a year, so it's not going to be if you miss it, it's gone for good. The first one to air will be Goldfinger on March 4th on ITV4. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Prime Video will be getting the exclusive rights to an NFL playoff game next season. This does not come as a surprise with how successful the wild card game was for Peacock. In an exclusive from Variety, they are reporting on a new show in development at Prime Video. They have ordered a new mystery thriller called Lazarus and will star Sam Claflin, Bill Nighy, and Alexandra Roach. As for why this is notable, is that this series is coming from Harlan Coben, and Danny Brocklehurst, who recently just made the first big hit of the year for Netflix, Fool Me Once. So something to keep an eye out for when it eventually comes out. We got another casting update for the Terminal List Darkwolf, with Luke Hemsworth signing on as a recurring guest star. For Paramount Plus, they released a trailer for the upcoming Sonic spin-off series Knuckles. Idris Elba is back to voice the character, and all 6 episodes will come out on April 26th in North America, with a rollout to other territories starting the 27th. So it will be a gradual rollout. Demi Moore has joined the cast of a new show from Taylor Sheridan called Landman. The cast will be led by Billy Bob Thornton. AMC's quarterly earnings came out, and it's mixed news for their subscriptions. It's good news, getting over 300,000 to go from 11.1 to 11.4 million views. For their subscriptions, it's good news, gaining 300,000 subscribers to go from 11.1 to 11.4 million subs. However, overall for the company, their ad sales were down in the US 23% year over year. The stock dropped 20% after a report. Not great overall for the company. As for shows at AMC, they have greenlit a 3rd season of The Terror. It'll be based on a book called The Devil in Silver and will come out sometime in 2025. In exclusive from Variety, they're reporting that BritBox has signed a deal to air both the BAFTA Film and Television Awards through 2025. The Film Awards take place on February 18th, with the Television Awards on May 12th. Now, let's talk about those Disney Plus numbers. The quarterly report brought a lot of news, and we already talked about Moana 2, but we have the latest subscription numbers and other stories to talk about. Disney Plus Core, which is all the Disney Plus subscribers excluding Disney Plus Hotstar in India, that dropped from 112.6 million to 111.3 million, so a loss of 1.3 million subs. This isn't too surprising, as there was another price hike that took effect in the fall, but Disney is not too worried about the loss. In regards to actual financials, they narrowed the losses of Disney Plus by 300 million, and they're still expected it to start making a profit by the end of the fiscal year. Along with that, they are expecting to gain between 5.5 to 6 million subscribers in the first quarter. As for Disney Plus Hotstar, it gained 700,000 subscribers over the quarter and is now at 38.3 million. Hulu went up from 43.9 million to 45.1 million subscribers. In regards to helping Reach making a profit, Disney talked more about the upcoming password crackdown on Disney Plus and Hulu. While the updated terms and conditions for the services will start in March, the actual crackdown looks like it will not start until summer. It is then it will start offering people not at the account owner's home to make their own subscription. On top of that, later in 2024, Disney will be taking another page from Netflix's book and offer account owners to add people outside their home to their subscription for an additional fee. As for the upcoming ESPN streaming service, the update we got is that it's still aiming for a 2025 release, ideally before the fall, so it is up and running ahead of the NFL season. That's going to be interesting, considering the streaming market for sports might be very different when it comes out. There was some other big streaming news I'll talk about in a bit. Percy Jackson has been renewed for a 2nd season, with the company announcing the 1st season was watched for 110 million hours. Goosebumps is also getting renewed for a 2nd season, however, it'll be coming back as an anthology season. So assuming there are no changes, it's a new story with a new cast. Also, the 2nd season will be 8 episodes long compared to the 1st season's 10 episodes. For Hulu and FX, it was announced that The Bear's 3rd season will air sometime in June, and the expectation is that all episodes will be available at once. Also for Disney Plus, CEO Bob Iger came ready and dropped the news that Taylor Swift The Eras Tour is coming to Disney Plus. Officially called Taylor Swift The Eras Tour Taylor's Version, it will include 5 additional songs that were not included in both the theatrical and digital release. It'll be available to watch starting March 15th. And Puck News is exclusively reporting that Disney paid $75 million to get the worldwide streaming rights, outbidding Netflix and Universal. And congrats to Taylor Swift, as this has been a masterclass in maximizing revenue for a film. For Disney Plus, though, this is a huge get, and I think the $75 million is not too much, considering Swifties will likely view it multiple times, so engagement should go through the roof. At Peacock, Don Cheadle is joining the upcoming limited series Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist. The series cast so far includes Kevin Hart, Samuel Jackson, Taraji P. Henson, and Terrence Howard. Cheadle will play an Atlanta police detective. For Max this week, Tokyo Vice is back with the first 2 episodes of Season 2. I really enjoyed the first season, and so far, Have enjoyed. I've watched the season 2 premiere. It's great. It's still good. Critics have been liking it as well, with season 2 so far getting a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll get a third season. We have the Nielsen Top 10 charts for the week of January 8th to the 14th. And the overall Top 10 chart, Fool Me Once, continues to stay dominant. We just talked about that a few minutes ago. Coming in first place with 2.3 billion minutes watched. Bluey came in second with 1.4 billion minutes. And Reacher came in third place with 1 billion minutes. Other noticeable releases were the Netflix series The Brother's Son, coming in sixth place with 960 million minutes, and the Netflix movie Lift, which came in seventh place with 872 million minutes. For Disney Plus, Echo debuted in 10th place with 731 million minutes. So yeah, it was a good idea for Disney to release all episodes at once, as otherwise it probably wouldn't have charted if it went with a regular release. Sticking with numbers, let's take a look at the Netflix Top 10 for the week of January 29th to February 4th. For English films, The Greatest Night in Pop came in first place with 11.9 million views. Orion and the Dark came in second place with 10 million views. And Lift came in third place with 8.2 million views. For English TV shows, Griselda stayed in first place with another 20.6 million views. Alexander, The Making of a God came in second place with 7.1 million views. And American Nightmare came in third place with 5.6 million views. As for Fool Me Once, it has now reached the top 10 all-time for English shows, coming in ninth place with 84.9 million views. Since it has only been out for a month, it still has more than enough time to move further up the chart. In an exclusive from Deadline, they are reporting that Netflix has bought the film The Chaperone. The comedy will be directed by Will Speck and Josh Gordon, with Jason Bateman possibly starring in it, and Jimmy Warden writing the screenplay. Bateman, Speck, and Gordon recently worked together on Office Christmas Party back in 2016. In another exclusive from Deadline, they are reporting that Cillian Murphy will be starring in a new movie called Steve. The film will be produced by his brand new production company called Big Things Films for Netflix. That's right, Murphy is getting more into producing with his own production company. Good for him. The film will be directed by Tim Milans and it is an adaptation of a book called Shy from Max Porter. And finally, the biggest news this week in streaming is that Warner Bros. Discovery, Disney, and Fox are teaming up for a new streaming service. There are not that many details at the moment, but what we do know is that it'll be a joint venture setup with the three companies each owning a third. The service will include 14 TV channels from all three companies. This is a sports focused service, so this includes ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, Fox, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, TNT, and TBS to name a few. Also, ESPN Plus will also be included as well. And they are being very aggressive with them saying that it is set to launch in the fall. Ideally, I would assume for the NFL season and the start of the NBA season, but we'll see. And to make it easy for customers, there will be a variety of ways to sign up. You can sign up as a separate subscription, like everything else, if you want to. But it'll also be available as an add-on to Max, Disney Plus, and Hulu. One important thing to note is that they are not making any content exclusive, at least for now. If you have cable, or you say have Hulu with live TV or YouTube TV, you'll still have access to those TV channels. This is just another option for customers. Here is what Bob Iger had to say about it in a statement. Quote, "The launch of this new streaming sports service is a significant moment for Disney and ESPN, a major win for sports fans, and an important step forward for the media business. This means the full suite of ESPN channels will be available to customers alongside the sports programming of other industry leaders as part of a differentiated sports-centric service." End quote. And David Zaslav had this to say as well. Quote, "This new sports service exemplifies our ability as an industry to drive innovation and provide consumers with more choice, enjoyment, and value, and we're thrilled to deliver it to sports fans." End quote. This comes at an interesting time for a few reasons. One, Disney is still moving forward with their standalone ESPN streaming service next year. This is not replacing it. Also, this year, the NBA will start negotiations with the companies regarding rights to air games. Overall, the new service will have games from the NBA, WNBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, golf, tennis, soccer, and NASCAR. This kind of came out of nowhere, but if you view it from media companies teaming up against the big tech streaming services, then it makes more sense. Amazon with Prime Video is moving more and more into sports. Apple TV Plus has all of the MLS and some baseball games, and YouTube TV has the NFL Sunday Ticket. So for the media companies, they kind of need to work together, because I wouldn't be surprised if they use this service in negotiations with sports leagues like the NBA to say, hey, look, if you still give us the games for our cable channels, there are multiple ways for customers to stream as well. Because I think for a lot of sports, a lot of sports leagues now, it's they want the streaming, they want streaming, they want to be everywhere, they don't want to be locked to cable. So if they can present, hey, look, you don't need to go to Prime Video, we have a streaming service of our own, multiple choices for people to sign on. You can still give it to us. Maybe that's a win. Depending on how this is priced, this is definitely a win for customers because it gives them more choice. Personally, I don't want to spend $70, $80 per month on, say, YouTube TV if I only want to watch sports from it. But if you give me this for, say, 30, 40 bucks a month, I'm more inclined to at least try it out. One group that is probably smashing tables right now, though, are the cable companies themselves, because this could be the killing blow for them. While people subscribing to cable has been dropping for years, the main reason to keep it for a lot of customers has been because of sports. Right? It's the only place you can get all your sports in one spot. Well, now this provides another way to get those channels. I feel carriage negotiations between the media companies and cable are going to get really heated now. Also, something worth noting is that Comcast and Paramount are not a part of this, so those channels and sports rights are not included. Variety reports that they were not invited, partially because then it would make the service too expensive for enough customers to want to sign up. And as if for this episode of Box Office Receipts, it's only been a few weeks into 2024, and the changes just keep coming in streaming. If you want to follow me on Threads, X, or Facebook, links to those are in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.